Stop talking about comic books or I'll kill you. I don't care if the Hulk could defeat the Man of Steel.
Is there any other male characters that they're iconic ones that you'd enjoy, portraying?
Oh, well, Daredevil.
Yeah.
Well, what does Bob want me to do?
He wants you to do Daredevil.
Yeah.
Hey there, comic fans. Bullseye Bob here, and welcome to Everything Comics. Of course, we're at the 26th episode of Having Comics with My Coffee. It's the show where we get together in a local coffee shop, have some great coffee. We talk about the comics that came out this week. And of course, we're talking about a new comic book day, which was May 27th, this last Wednesday. And man, we have a full deck of books, finally. Woohoo! I'm very happy. We got a full comic book, new comic book day, and it was just absolutely glorious. Tried to pick up as many books as I could because it was just, it felt like everything was back again. So very happy to be here. Very excited about today's show. And absolutely, man, comic books are back, folks. Come on. So here we are, live and in living color from the Refuge Coffee House here in Portland, Oregon. And of course, that's at 9217 Southeast Foster Road. If you've never been here before, definitely check it out. If you're ever in town, let me know. Love to meet you here, have a cup of coffee. We'll talk comics, talk whatever you want, but that would be awesome. And so I just wanted to let you know that the Refuge, again, that they do have swag on their website. They got hats, they got t-shirts, they got sweatshirts, they got hoodies, they got coffee for sale, and it all goes towards helping them keep the lights on and staying open. And if you're so led, I'd appreciate it if you went down. The link is in the description, and check out their website and throw some support their way if you could. So before we get into our reviews today, I do have a couple of announcements. First one was last night I had an amazing time. On Comics with Bueller, we got to interview Shannon Maer.
Is there any other male characters that they're iconic ones that you'd enjoy, portraying?
Oh, well, Daredevil.
Oh my gosh. He's one of my favorite cover artists that's out there right now. Probably my most favorite. His use of color, his use of light is absolutely stunning. And I just, whenever I see one of his images, it just strikes me. We got to interview this guy last night. He was so humble, so down to earth, and such an awesome creator to interview. It was a really good time. I'm not on there a lot, but my good buddy Bueller, he did allow me to hop in and ask Shannon a couple of questions, and I had a great time. So Bueller, thank you very much. Shannon Maer, appreciate you. Thank you very much. It was an awesome time. But I'm announcing this because you can see that interview on the Comics with Bueller channel. Just go, I'll actually put a link down in the description. Go check it out. It's a great interview. Next one is 2 nights ago, we had our live stream that was the Battle Draft 2020, and this time we did the Avengers. That's right. Dylan from Dylan's Comics. We had both Hero and the Kid, Sean and Will. We had Bueller from Comics with Bueller. And of course, we had me, and then Robbie from Pop Culture Philosophers, and we drafted our teams based on whatever comic characters we wanted to build them with. Anything was game. It was a lot of fun. That is also on the channel. Leave us a link down in the description. Definitely go check that one out. It's just comic book fun. And last, you guys know I'm on another show, Comics with Bueller. Every Monday morning, 5 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, the Coffee and Comic Show gets dropped, and that's where we discuss some of the hottest topics in comic books. It's one of my favorite times of the week because I get to hang out with my brother and just have some coffee, and we go at it when it comes to talking about these subjects. We love it. And you can check that out on the Comics with Bueller channel. Every week on Wednesday, on New Comic Book Day, he leaves a video that is the most watched video for previews of comic books coming out the following week. So he poses a question that we use for our show that Monday, and we let your comments drive the conversation. So watch the video on Wednesday, see what the question is, see if it's something that you want to comment on, and leave a comment down there, and then maybe your comment will get used on Monday in our conversation. It's an awesome time, but we need you guys, so go check that out. Again, Comics with Bueller, Coffee and Comic Show, 5 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Be there, be square, folks. It's an awesome time. Okay, so before we get into our comic books today, I wanted to talk about the coffee that I'm drinking. And you know me, when I come to the Refuge, especially when it's nice and sunny outside, I like a nice cold brew. They have one of the best cold brews in town. This is made with their espresso roast. I have some sugar-free vanilla sweetener inside of it, and it is awesome.
Is there any other male characters that they're iconic ones that you'd enjoy, portraying?
Oh, well, Daredevil.
So now we come to our cover of the week, and the cover of the week this week is probably a no-brainer, but after interviewing Shannon Maer, we know Venom 25 came out this week, and he has an amazing cover with Venom on it, and so that's my cover of the week, Venom 25. There it is in all its glory. Shannon Maer, another one of his great covers. I actually have the virgin copy of this coming to put in my collection, and I can't wait to meet him so that I can have him sign it. But there it is, folks. Cover of the week, Venom 25.
Yeah.
Well, what does Bob want me to do?
Is there any other male characters that they're iconic ones that you'd enjoy, portraying?
Oh, well, Daredevil.
So here we are with the reviews, and for our first book, we have Avengers number 33 by Marvel Comics. This one is written by Jason Aaron, and art is by Javier Garrón. Now, right out of the gate, I knew as soon as I started reading this book that this was going to be a story that I was going to be into. This is just comic book goodness, folks. Nothing against Jason Aaron, but I have not been reading the Avengers books. When the Avengers are down, they're down. When they're up, and I just haven't been on this book for a while. And so, because it was a brand new story starting up, new comic book day, I figured I'd hop in, and we start off with the first part of the storyline of what they were calling the Age of Khonshu. And what happens in this book is just comic book goodness. It's craziness, stuff that I absolutely love in comic books, folks, and it all revolves around Moon Knight. It's just absolutely crazy. There's so many different crazy things that happens inside of this book. I don't want to give it away, but again, it does revolve around Moon Knight. It starts off with an interchange between Moon Knight and Danny Rand, the Iron Fist, and it's just absolutely glorious. I never thought that I would I don't know why anybody's never thought of taking the Iron Fist and putting it up against the Fist of Khonshu, but glorious, absolutely. This is a good hopping on point if you haven't been on the Avengers before, you haven't been reading them. The art was really good inside of this book. It was a lot of fun. My only gripe was that it ended too quickly. Really, it just gets to the end, and there's the last page, and I want that next issue. If you haven't been reading the Avengers, this is a great time to get on this book. I loved it. So here we go, folks. The next book on our list is Venom number 25. I have been waiting so long to have the new Venom book come out. The conclusion to the Venom Island storyline. Oh man, been waiting for this book for so long. Of course, art's done by Mark Bagley. It's written by the great Donny Cates. So here we go. Conclusion to the Venom Island storyline. This is a double-sized issue, which was, I appreciated that right out the gate. And for the most part, it's just nicely done. Last off, we left off, we had Dylan Brock was basically remote piloting the Venom symbiote in a T-Rex to go save his dad, who's basically been imprisoned in his mind by Carnage. And so he basically goes to fight the Carnage symbiote to save his dad. So what happens inside of this book is we don't see the story happen in real time. The story is basically unfolded as we see Eddie confessing to somebody, getting really heartfelt about his situation and retelling the events as if it happened in the past. And I wasn't prepared for that vehicle. I didn't think they'd go that way. But my gosh, Donny Cates, the way he writes this, it was just so well done. I don't think I've ever identified with Eddie Brock as much as I did inside of this book. Everything that he was talking about, he was soul searching. It was very heartfelt, and I could feel the emotion, and I really identified with the character. This is the magic of Donny Cates' writing. It's not the grandiose stories, and it's not the cool concepts that he comes up with. Those are top notch, to be sure. But when he really lets himself get into a character and bring their actual emotions and who they are, so that you can actually identify with them, I think he's wonderful at doing that, and he did it inside of this book. So besides that whole scene, we get the whole conclusion of how Dylan is going to save his dad. There's some interchange there, a lot of fun. And in the end, we find that he's actually confessing to the Avengers, and he's coming clean about the whole Null situation. So it's setting the stage for what's going to come next. And it's going to get crazy, folks. I can't wait. Donny Cates has been doing an amazing job on this. I think Bagley's artwork so complements it. So I love his stuff. There's a couple pages in the very back where they're Avengers pages. I think a different inker inked those pages because they weren't as quality as the rest of the book. But other than that, I think that's the only flaw that I saw. This is an amazing comic. New Comic Book Day is back. Venom is back. And conclusion to the Venom Island storyline is pretty awesome. Even if you haven't been reading this, pick it up. It's amazing. So the next book we have is Suicide Squad number 5, and that's from DC Comics. This one is written by Tom Taylor, one of my favorite writers out there right now, and art was done by Bruno Redondo. Now this is a book that when it began, I was fully prepared to review issue number 1 and then probably not get it going forward. It's no secret I haven't been a fan of this book for a long time, but here we are. We're 5 issues in, and it's becoming one of those books that I'm looking forward to getting every month because it's been actually really, really good. And it shouldn't be any wonder. I love Tom Taylor's writing, but again, because of the way they've written Suicide Squad in the last, 5-6 years, I haven't really liked it. So here we are. We're getting to the place where we're finally understanding who's pulling the strings behind this new leadership that is leading the Suicide Squad. If you thought Amanda Waller was bad, these guys have been even worse. And we finally find out who the big boss is. The mission inside of this book is basically they're going after Captain Boomerang to subdue him and bring him back. Most of the book is told from the perspective from this character named Jog, who is a speedster. Such an awesome story. I've never even heard of this character before until I started reading this book. And just spoiler alert, he dies in this book, and now I want more of him. Just the way Tom Taylor wrote him, it was so well done. Basically, when you get to the end of it, I'm ready for what happens next, because the Suicide Squad basically break free from the triggers that'll blow their heads off, and they're going after the leadership. And the leadership has something that they're he's going to be able to hold over him. Don't know what that is, but I'm excited to get there. If you haven't been reading Suicide Squad up until now, or if you're like me, you haven't liked this book because it just became kind of stale, definitely pick up this new Suicide Squad. It is a lot of fun. Tom Taylor's killing it on it. The artwork so far has been solid, and I think it's definitely worth you checking out and seeing if you like it for yourself.
Yeah.
Well, what does Bob want me to do?
Now for the 4th book on our list, we have Rogue Planet number 1, and of course that one came out by Oni Press. This one's written by Cullen Bunn, artwork by Andy McDonnell. This one was a solid first read. Some of these books that are based on space, especially when you're world building, you're introducing a lot of characters, you're introducing scientific concepts, names of ships and all that. It's not an easy thing to do to make that all work and keep a person glued, as far as the storyline goes. Cullen Bunn does a great job inside of this book of doing that. I didn't get bored, I didn't get lost, and even though he introduces a number of characters that die, I didn't lose the plot thread. Well, first off, after seeing an alien sacrifice on some planet somewhere, which was kind of shocking in the very beginning, we cut to the ship that is full of basically salvagers, and they're going to this planet to see what they can go ahead and salvage because they saw a distress beacon or something that looked like a stress beacon, and they figure they can go help out, but at the same time, it's a planet in the middle of nowhere. They can go ahead and get some salvage off it, make some money. They get there, all hell breaks loose. They definitely bit off more than they can chew. It gets absolutely crazy. It gets absolutely creepy. Had a lot of fun reading, the progression of how we got there. It wasn't, it wasn't anything to write home about. I mean, it wasn't one that I'm like, oh my gosh, you got to run out and pick this up. But it was definitely a solid first read. I definitely am excited to see where they go next with it. I love Cullen Bunn's writing. You know me, I reviewed The Sixth Gun a couple of weeks ago. Absolutely love that stuff. So definitely dig Cullen Bunn's writing. The way he writes horror, like creepiness. Never seen him do the space stuff before, although I hear there's some stuff out there that he's done on that. Just The Sixth Gun, that's all I've read. I like his writing, and he definitely does a good job inside of this, because I really do think that's a hard thing to do, to keep a reader glued when you're trying to build all that out. So hats off to him. Definitely pick this one up. Check it out for yourself.
Is there any other male characters that are iconic ones that you'd enjoy, portraying?
Oh, well, Daredevil.
Okay, moving right along, folks. Our next book is Dead Day #1. This one put out by Aftershock. This is written by Ryan Perot, and art is by Egenev Bornyakov. I think that's how you say it. I'll probably butcher that. But bottom line, this is a book that wasn't on my radar. I picked it up because Robbie from Pop Culture Philosophers reviewed it. And a new comic book day is back. I couldn't get enough comic books this week, so I went and picked it up to check it out. So the best thing about this book is the concept. It's Earth, and the way the writer builds it out is that there are these certain days when the moon is in the sky at just the right place, the stars are aligned behind it, that the dead at certain places across the Earth will rise up. And not only is this has this happened multiple times, but true to form, as what we would probably do, they actually have created a holiday around it. Basically, whether you think it is a good thing because you get to see your loved ones rise up from the dead, and then some people think it's a bad thing because not everybody that rises up is actually good. Some people create a holiday out of it. Some people create their religion out of it, and some people lock themselves up inside their houses because they don't want anything to do with it. But it's definitely something that the Earth has had to react to, and they've made a holiday out of it called Dead Day. And the way the writer builds out, their world's reactions, to this event that happens is pretty insane. I think it's really well done. And it kept me wanting more as I was reading along. And so, like I said, the best thing about this book is the actual concept of what's going on. There is a storyline that deals with the mother and wife in this family that basically is going to leave her house on Dead Day to keep a promise to her long dead husband. And so we get to see that kind of thing progress, and there's a twist that happens at the end. It's a solid storyline, but really the world building on how the world is reacting to this was fascinating and really well done, and I want more of it. So this is one that I would say definitely check out. The pacing of it was really nice. The artwork was really good. And I'm on board. I'm definitely on board. I'll definitely get this one going forward. I'll write it out. I think it's going to be a mini-series. But this is one that you should definitely pick up. Thank you very much, Robbie. Another one that wasn't on my radar that I'm glad I got.
Yeah.
Well, what does Bob want me to do?
So now we come to our next book, and that's The Flash, number 754. This one by DC Comics, written by the great Joshua Williamson, and art by Rafa Sandoval. So now we are nearing the end of Williamson's run on The Flash, and I have to say, I don't want him to go. This has been one of my favorite books every month, and I don't want The Flash to sink back into obscurity as it's been known to do from time to time. But this continues the Paradox storyline, and this just could be the greatest villain that The Flash has ever faced. We start up right where we left off the last time. Flash is teaming up with Eobard Thawne, his nemesis, to bring down Paradox. And I gotta tell you, the splash pages are amazing. The color is really well done in this book, and the writing is just top notch. The interplay between Barry and Eobard is worth its weight in gold, as it is. Just, I mean, if you know the relationship between those two characters, it's so much fun to read. And then it basically culminates in the Reverse Flash trying to take down Paradox like he did way in the future. That's why Flash went to grab him, because he's the only one that's ever taken him down, and he fails. Because after the defeat of Paradox, he's gone back and he's looked at all the timeline, and he sees where he got his downfall before, and he wasn't going to let Thawne do it this time. And so now that this has failed, we have no idea what's going to happen. Paradox basically goes supernova with everything that he's eaten up, and he's eating the timeline. And the very last page, you said this could be the end of the Flash Age. We got to see what happens next, folks. I've been loving this book, been loving Joshua Williamson's writing. I'm going to be sorry to see it go, but what a masterful run from beginning to end. If you haven't been reading this book, definitely go and collect it in the trades. You can probably still get a lot of the floppies, but I'm telling you right now, Joshua Williamson's run on The Flash is amazing. So now we come to my pick of the week, folks. And my pick of the week this week is Alienated #3 by Boom Studios. This one is written by Simon Spurrier, art by Chris Wildgoose. And, you know, I try not making my pick of the weeks the same as other channels' pick of the weeks. I try to go, you know, just as unique as I can with things. But after reading this book, I have to concede, this is such an amazing book. I don't want to give too much away about the series because it's a fun ride, and if you give too much away, that leaves nothing for you to explore for yourself and be surprised by. I will say that the story revolves around 3 teenagers who stumble upon an alien life form, and the alien life form affects them to a certain degree so that they're linked all telepathically together, and then you watch their journey from there. I'll leave it at that, and but it's such a fun story, and the way that it's done is masterful, because the way the lettering is that each one of their thoughts are done in a different colored font, so you can tell who's speaking in whose mind at each time, and it's a lot of fun. So like I said, I'm not going to give the overall story away in this book, but there is a scene where one of the characters gets an opportunity to go basically back and revisit something that was very painful from her past, to confront the truth of that pain, and what's more, to bring the person in who caused that pain to basically go through it with her so that she can confront them. The emotion that is displayed inside of this scene and the dialogue that's given is so well written, so heartfelt, so gut-wrenching. I was moved emotionally many times. It's not very often you get a writer that can bring that out, especially in comic book form. But Simon Spurrier, I got to give my hats off to him, because this just isn't a science fiction or just a comic book. There's something that's going on here that is very real, very raw, very emotional. You know me, I'm a pastor, and I deal with a lot of people's pain, emotional pain. And the way this is written felt so real to me, just because of the things that I've been through and the things that I've seen. And I got to tell you, very masterful. And by the time I was done with it, I really felt like I was holding something special in my hand. Because it's, you know, even that part of it, you know, really, even though it's kind of science fiction-y, it's just really well done. And so just for that, I'm making it my pick of the week, because it transcends the form and really does something special inside of the book, besides just this story about these 3 teenagers. If you have not been really reading Alienated by Boom Studios, here's another one by them that is just top-notch, amazing. You got to be looking at this one, folks. It's really well done, really heartfelt. Can't praise it enough. Check it out.
Yeah.
Well, what does Bob want me to do?
Yeah.
Well, what does Bob want me to do?
Yeah.
Well, what does Bob want me to do?
He wants you to do Daredevil.
So there you have it. There are my reviews, folks. A lot of great books this week. Of course, I couldn't get everything. My comic shop, you know, True to Diamond, they were shorted. They had damages, and I even got my books late because there was some flooding in the Midwest. but I finally did get my books. I had to do one of them digitally just because of the fact that I knew it was going to be a good book and I didn't not want to review it. And so I'm happy. I'm so happy. We are back, folks. Next week we're not going to have any Marvel books. So it won't be a full deck, but we're getting there. We're getting there. Pretty soon it'll be all back to normal as far as getting new comic books in, and I'm so excited. So here we go. The last part of the show is our panel of the week. And this week's panel of the week comes from Avengers number 33. We have the Iron Fist going up against Moon Knight, the Fist of Khonshu. And we see this panel, and because of the supermoon that is on high, we get this, great fight between Danny Rand and Moon Knight. And we get this 100-punch fist that pummels Danny that is just absolutely glorious. I love this panel. I got sweaty when I saw it. It's definitely my panel of the week. Hope you like it, folks. So that's it. That's my reviews. Hope you guys have been doing great. It's great to be back in full swing. Definitely check out those other shows that I announced earlier. The Shannon Maer interview.
Is there any other male characters that they're iconic ones that you'd enjoy, portraying?
Oh, well, Daredevil.
Yeah.
Well, what does Bob want me to do?
He wants you to do Daredevil.
Yeah.
Which was top notch. And then we had the roundtable, the Avengers roundtable. And then check us out this Monday on Comics with Bueller for the Coffee and Comic Show. Really appreciate you guys. Man, love being back. Always support your local comic shop, folks. And remember, ever, Excelsior.
Whether Logan's claws could pierce Steve Rogers' shield.